So, with renewed threats and warnings from the FBI, just how worried should Americans be? Joining us now is senior fellow at the Middle East Institute, Faraz Maqsaad, and Jeffrey Harp. He managed counterterrorism investigations during his time in the FBI. Faraz, I'd like to start with you. The leader of Hezbollah warned the U.S. must stop Israeli aggression in Gaza, saying Americans will pay the price. Hezbollah is much stronger and better armed than Hamas. How alarming is that speech?
Very alarming, Elizabeth. Hezbollah is a group that would put Hamas to shame. It is the most powerful non-state military actor in the world. And certainly Nasrallah's speech today was not short on threats targeting the United States. However, I should caution that most of these threats tend to be directed at U.S. forces, U.S. bases, U.S. interest in the region, therefore in Syria, in Iraq, in other places. But those Iranian-sponsored military groups do understand that an attack against the American homeland will draw a very strong American response and will have quite a bit of public support here in the United States. So they are uneasy about striking the American homeland for that reason, but they did make it very clear that they intend to continue striking at U.S. interests in the region due to its supports for Israel's war on Gaza.
Right, but Jeff, the FBI Director Chris Wray just warned Congress of copycats of this war, of Hamas's activity, inspiring other groups. We saw an arrest just moments ago. So even if Hezbollah isn't going to launch attacks on on American soil, others might?
Well, yeah, that's exactly right. And I think which we have to keep in context here is these operators that come out of nowhere, sort of the lone wolf types, if you want to call them that. Sometimes they're at home doing self-radicalization based off of online activity or something else. Some of that's really, really hard to track and find. And when you have those lone wolves or those single aggressors coming out to want to do harm, those are the types of incidents that we have a lot of trouble tracking and stopping.
Faraz, Secretary of State Blinken arrived in Tel Aviv today and asked Benjamin Netanyahu to pause the bombing to allow aid in and hostages out. Netanyahu flat out refused. The leader of Hezbollah repeatedly addressed America in his statement today, saying if war breaks out, your fleets, American fleets, will be of no use, and nor will fighting from the air. The one who will pay the price will be you, America.
Absolutely. And what Nasrallah was responding to here is an American message of deterrence. The administration has actually done quite a good job in messaging to Hezbollah and Iran. If you get involved in this war, if you broaden this war and make it that much more complicated to Israel, we will also get involved on behalf of Israel. We will also enter that war. And so Nasrallah was responding to that threat, reminding the United States that its fleets in the Mediterranean, two carrier groups, two aircraft carriers, might be vulnerable should the U.S. decide to do so. And I do, however, have to point out that I think the message of deterrence has worked. So far, Hezbollah has not entered that war in a full fashion. And in fact, many were anticipating that he would have a declaration of war today. And there was no such declaration of war.
So it might be working. What do you make of, Faraz, of Netanyahu's response and his aggressive warning of his own today, saying, do not mess with us, it will cost you a great price?
Yeah, this is the mutual deterrence that both Israel and Hezbollah have had in place really since the devastating war that they fought in 2006, a month-long war that devastated both sides, but particularly Lebanon. And so I think it has largely held. What we've seen for the past month or so since this war began is quite a bit of border skirmishes, almost daily, tit-for-tat attacks between Hezbollah and Israel retaliating to Hezbollah's attacks. But those have remained contained to the border. And so that threat coming from Israel, but also the message of deterrence from the United States, have stopped Hezbollah of declaring a full-out war on Israel and broadening this into a region-wide conflict.
Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.